suddenly all those tactics that you've been using to scrabble up the mountain, if you keep doing them, you are going to sink into the quicksand, because what the business needs from you at that point is so different.
You're listening to the Happy Productive Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Dawn, business coach and founder of Freedom Builders. If you're ready to slow it on down and stop grinding, do the inner work that makes outer success inevitable, and build a soul-aligned, not soul-sucking, business and life that feel amazing and overflow with ease and joy and happy productivity, you're in the right place. If you'd like to learn more, just hop on over to my website, jenniferdawncoaching.com. That's it. Let's get into today's episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Happy Productive Podcast. It's Jennifer Dawn, and I am so excited about today's show because basically I get to sit with one of my most favorite people in the world and dish for the next half hour, which, I mean, who wouldn't love that? So Thea Brook, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And I feel exactly the same. When I saw this pop up in my calendar, I was like, oh, that's going to be such a good end to my day here.
I know, because Thea is in the UK. So I'm recording from New York and she's in the UK. And so we have about a 5-hour time difference right now. But just a little bit of history of how Thea came to be one of my most favorite people. So many years ago, and Thea, I honestly don't even remember how many, we worked together. So Thea was a client and I was her coach. And we worked together for many years and had a very, very successful relationship. And I'll let you kind of share a little bit about your journey because she left that business, had a bit of a health crisis, and then was reinventing herself and thankfully reached out to me. And we helped to get Thea on a different path, the path that she's on right now with her coaching practice. And she even was a coach on our team for a short period of time, which of course it was so sad to see you go, but I always knew, I was like, this girl, she's going to be having her own thing. And sure enough, and now she has a beautiful, amazing, successful business coaching practice. So Thea, you and I have been together for a lot of years, and I'm so excited to just sit here and have a great conversation with you today because you are absolutely brilliant, and I know you have so much to share with our audience, but welcome, and I would just love for you to just give everybody a little, do that little story more justice of just tell your story and how you came to be where you are today doing the work you do.
It's so interesting when I hear you talk about it because we don't stop, do we, and talk about our journeys together, but you've been so instrumental in the last few years of my life. So this is magic. My professional life started in the finance scene. So that was probably the first 10 to 15 years of my career. I was in the finance and operational roles of high growth startups up to CFO level. Very, very different to, I think, what I was born to do. I think, yes, my brain maybe was born to do finance, but I was an entrepreneur from birth, for sure. I was just fighting it for a long time.
Yeah.
And that led me to my two bigger businesses in the last decade. One was a restaurant business, and then I launched a product brand range out of that restaurant business, and that's when we met. Mm-hmm. And that was such an interesting time for me because I went from sitting on the board of these high growth startups thinking, yeah, I can handle anything. I'll be fine. I can run my own business. I can fundraise £1 million and run this massive food brand by myself. And then it was so different. And I got caught off guard with so many things. And it took me too long to reach out and find a coach. And I think it's wild that we found each other because I'm sure I found you through a Google search. And I think I remember you saying at the time you weren't even like targeting the UK. So the universe brought us together.
Yes.
It had a plan. And yeah, you really helped me. That was such a trying time. We were going through, all the events that were happening in those few years, like COVID, the Ukraine war, like it was one thing after another running a food business, like manufacturing sites. It was heavy. And I'm not sure how I would have got through those years of building that business without having you there weekly to look after me.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I came out of that business, I was so burnt out. It had been such a trying few years. And about 3.5 months after coming out of that business, when I was thinking, yeah, I really need to just take some proper time out and recover. I had a brain hemorrhage, and the universe really said, you
You
are going to
guys
take
just
some time out.
stop for 1 second. You heard her correctly. She had a brain hemorrhage. Okay. Let's like for real. Yes. Okay. Keep going. You heard her correctly.
And that gave me a whole life reset, as you can imagine. I was so lucky. I was so lucky. I had an aneurysm, it burst, but they got to me quickly. They limited the damage. They got inside there, and I had surgery. And I just have no, like now I have no serious lasting damage from that, which is amazing. But it in a lot of ways, it feels like it just pressed reset completely for me. I was already going through a bit of that coming out of the previous business and knowing that I needed to have a complete change in how I operated, what I gave priority to, all of that kind of thing. But that really, really just like wiped the slate clean for me. And I made a commitment that I'm going to build very intentionally from here, and I'm going to build a life first life and put myself first and all the things that should be my priorities, not the things that creep in and take all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been building for the last 3 years. And yeah, again, you've been really instrumental in that journey. I remember coming to you and saying, because I'd always had this frustration that I was learning all these lessons the hard way. Like I'd learned all those lessons the hard way through my finance days, and then the entrepreneurial days even harder. I was like, it can't just go to waste. Like it has to go somewhere. This has to now be an asset that generates something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember coming to you and saying, I'm thinking about coaching, maybe like mentoring coaching. And you were like, well, one, you should absolutely do that. You would be a great coach. And two, can you come and do it with me?
And I do not say this to everybody. In fact, I take it very, very, very seriously. It's funny, Thea, because I look back and Julie started out as a client with me. Kate started out as a client. Jen started out as a client. It's like so many, and Layla started out as a client. So much of our coaching team is people that I worked with. And because this work, I take it really, really seriously. And I wanted to know like I want to know who you are before you join our coaching team. And so when people have been clients, like I know who they are. Do they show up? Are they serious? Do they implement the work? And I knew who you were. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like Thea is freaking brilliant. And yeah, and it's like, hey, come join us because I love you so much. And I was not wrong, Thea. You are brilliant and you are an amazing coach.
Well, thank you so much. It really gave me the opportunity to take what I had as very unstructured skills around mentoring and coaching through just years of building teams and giving advice to other entrepreneurs and things like that, and hone it into a much more structured skill that really could have impact for people. And it also allowed me to explore it, I guess, without too much risk. Because I had met people before who had thought, I have all this experience now, I can put it into practice in this way. And then they just found that coaching wasn't for them. They wanted to get more hands-on and actually do the doing with people as opposed to sitting in that seat. So it was brilliant. Like, so I think we did that for about 9 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I went out into the big wide world by myself. And that's been a real evolution as well, because that's been just over 2 years now.
Yeah.
But I've really kept in my mind, yes, I'm coaching, yes, I'm mentoring, but I really have felt like I'm in a real R&D phase where I'm obsessively researching and pattern spotting and putting the pieces together and learning like who's the best people I can support, how can I best support them, how does this need to be structured, and kind of just honing till I got to my sweet spot.
Ah, so good. So good. One of the things that you and I earlier were talking about was you called it the quicksand. And I would love for you to share that because I think it's really going to resonate with a lot of the listeners.
One of the patterns I spotted was these different points in the growth journey where something really starts to shift or change or needs to or starts to cause probably the best way to put it is that it starts to cause a block because
Mm-hmm.
something is falling out of alignment or needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
And the stretch that I love working in, that I really hone in on, is when a business has got to about 200 or 300,000 in revenue, and they just, everything starts to get hard. They've
Mm-hmm.
managed to grow the business at that point, so they obviously have something great and they've had success, and now they're finding that they can't grow revenue as easily.
Mm-hmm.
They are actually finding their profit getting squeezed underneath it all.
Yeah.
They are getting exhausted. They are just running out of energy for it and losing the joy for it and losing touch with the business. And so I
Mm-hmm.
found this point really interesting and spent a lot of time working with founders around this point. And what I identified I picture it like you're on a journey, and the first bit to get to that point is you've really happened to be like scrabbling up a mountain.
Yeah.
So like lots of activity, lots of speed, lots of try this, try that, go here. Like it's quite frantic and you're
Yeah.
sweating and you're like, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go to get on this
Yeah.
mountain.
And you're just like tunnel vision, just like work, 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 work. And if I slow down, I'm gonna I'm gonna die and I can't slow down. And
Yeah.
yes,
And you're still
I
trying, and you're
might
still
have been
trying
there
to
a
build the
couple of
momentum.
times. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just have to keep going or it collapses. But then you hit this piece of the next bit of the journey, which is what I describe as quicksand, where
Mm.
suddenly all those tactics that you've been using to scrabble up the mountain, if you keep doing them, you
Mm-hmm.
are going to sink into the quicksand, because what the business needs from you at that point is so different. It needs you to just stop for a second, just
Yeah.
pause, survey, look around, get to know what's really going on, and then make some very intentional moves
Yeah.
to slowly move yourself strategically through that quicksand. And then there'll be another mountain, and then there'll be the next piece. But there's
Yeah.
this really interesting piece between like 200K and a million, I'd say 1 or 2 million,
Mm-hmm.
where you need to just completely shift how you're operating. And it goes against everything you want to do because it's not what you've done to date to get to that point.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about what some of those things are that you have to do differently. I'd love to dive into what that really looks like, and then we can also talk about the shifting it, right? Because we can say, oh, you have to now start delegating, right? You can't do everything yourself. You have to start delegating. And I think that we can all logically understand what delegation is and means, but the execution of it, there are so many things going on when you have to now just a simple thing like delegating to your team. So why don't we start with, if it's okay with you, just a couple of like what those things that have to shift. I mentioned delegating, that's one. You want to spend some time, I would love to hear your thoughts on that, and then anything else that really has to shift.
Yeah, so the very first thing I always see that needs to shift is the capacity of the person in the quicksand.
Oh, that's a good one, Thea. This is why I told you guys she's brilliant. 100%. Your capacity. Go into that a little bit deeper. And I'm asking this because back in the day, if I had heard that and thought my capacity, I would have translated that into I need to be able to do more in a day. That's how my brain would have filtered it. But let's talk about true capacity.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Firstly, the message I get back usually when I speak to founders initially about this is, no, we need to do the tactical work on the business and then I get capacity. And I say, no, we need to
Nope.
get the capacity back first and then we can do the tactical work. Because when we talk about capacity, we're talking about a number of things. Yes, it's time in the diary. That's a very obvious capacity constraint, but it's financial capacity. It's that little bit of more breathing room in the P&L, in the margins. It's the mental capacity. It's the nervous system capacity, because everything we're going to do as we start to survey this land and figure out how we strategically move through the quicksand needs really resilient, creative thinking from the founder. And we all know, we know so much more now about how the brain works. If it doesn't have that capacity and it doesn't feel safe and it doesn't feel that there's breathing room, it's very hard for you to think openly and creatively and take what's probably going to be quite bold steps to get you through this phase.
Yeah.
If you're still in that fear-based thinking, you start taking very short-term moves, and that's not where we're at right now. We're at like we need to be thinking a bit longer out into the future. So that typically starts with one of the exercises that founders, like when they first hear me say it, they're like, "Are you insane?" And then they do it, and they're like, "This is the best thing ever," and they get hooked.
Exactly. It's like,
That's,
oh, she's not insane. She's brilliant.
yeah, and that's time tracking.
Yeah.
To the minute. I always get business owners to time track for 2 weeks to the minute, because what we think we have going on versus what we actually have going on, every single time it's different.
Yeah.
Like every single time people are shocked.
Yeah.
And once we have that visibility, then we can just go, okay, well, maybe this is not contributing right now. Let's pause this. This piece should go to that person. That's when the delegating starts to come in. This is the first layer of cleansing, just to go, we always target, like, if we can get at least half a day a week back into your diary, and the breathing room overall for you to just have the nervous system calm down a bit, we can start the work. It'd be great if we get a day back, but let's just at least aim for that half a day, fully protected, and then we can start the work.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it. You have to start with capacity. If you don't, and I've seen this with our clients and even in my own businesses, that I never used to start with capacity, that you just end up taking more and more on, and then you burn out, you fall apart. Like, you can only do so much in a day, and that your physical capacities can only handle that for so long. So I absolutely love that you're starting with the capacity.
So important. And then once we have enough of the capacity, we can move to the second phase, which is alignment. And again, we're still not getting into the tactics here, but if we think about it, that landscape where we've just scrabbled to the top of this mountain and now we're in this massive patch of quicksand, if we don't take a beat and just reconnect with where are we trying to get to, like what actually is the goal here?
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of work to get through that quicksand, and you don't want to do all that work and realize you've ended up at the wrong juncture for the next piece of the journey. And it's amazing how many
I've never done that, Thea. I've never.
Oh, no, me neither.
Looked up and gone, what happened? Where am I and what am I doing?
I actually think if you have never had a moment like that in business, then you're not
a real business owner.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell somebody, you're not a real business owner. If you haven't failed miserably, burned yourself out, woke up one day and gone, wait, what am I doing? Like
100%. And it's amazing how many people, they get to that point where they're doing a few 100,000 and they think they've just on this autopilot of, I know what I'm building and I know what I'm building towards, but they actually haven't stopped and asked themselves that question for a while. And they can't answer it quickly when you ask them. And they go, oh, hang on a second. Well, I know what I set out originally to build, but this has gone a bit down a different path. And do I want that? Do I want something different? Do I still want to go really massive with this? Or do I actually just want something that's manageable as a lifestyle business? Do I want to sell it? Do I want to keep it? Like, there's a lot of questions that come up at that point that it's so important to work through and feel very aligned to, yes, this is what I want to build. This is how I want to be, or at least what my boundaries are with how I build it. And now we can plan, and now we can start moving through that.
Right. Yeah, I love what you said. And I just want to circle back on two quick things, because alignment, alignment is my jam. I love, are we in alignment here? So to get in alignment and to have those questions, one question I've asked so many of my clients, and it's shocking how many don't have an answer, is what do you do to bring yourself back to you, to just get fully grounded, to get fully present? And it's sad and surprising how many people I've worked with who don't have an answer to that question. So I love the question you're asking, and I'm going to just tack on a little bit too of like, what do you do to get back to yourself? And if you don't have anything that grounds you, gets you really present, like clears your thinking, like it's really hard to answer all those beautiful questions that you just said. And I'm going to drop in like one of the best ways to do this is to go on a retreat. And even if you don't go on like a formal business retreat, but just like take yourself away for a few days. I think it's really important when you start answering these big clarity questions to get out of your day-to-day environment, go somewhere beautiful that you really, really love, and take a couple of days to rest, relax. And that's where I love to do my biggest, best visioning work is somewhere that's like beautiful and out of my day-to-day grind. So I know you just came back from a retreat too that was absolutely magical. And I think you too really can see the benefit of a simple thing like getting out of your day-to-day, going and hanging out with some other amazing business owners can really help you answer those questions.
So I've just run my first business retreat, which is so exciting. And the breakthroughs that people had were phenomenal. And one of the things they said that they found really interesting is that we didn't really talk anything about tactical business until the last couple of hours of the last day.
Yeah.
But they said, this couple of days changed their lives, like changed their clarity around what they need to focus on, they feel excited about their businesses.
Yeah.
But it came through, everything else was about quieting down the noise and calming down the nervous system and creating the space to exactly what you're saying, reconnect with what is there underneath all the layers that really the thinking brain it kind of puts up blocks for us. But underneath all of that, when we can just get that thinking brain to take a minute, take a day off.
Yes.
It's all under there, and it's all so simple to us because it's real and it's natural to how we should be or how we would go about our lives if we didn't try and overthink everything.
Yeah, it's interesting that the more, and you know that I do this work in the nervous system to go to the root of the behaviors and things, the more I drop down into my own body, the more I regulate my own system. Even as a coach, like you're working with a client and you're essentially co-regulating with the client. So it's so important to bring to that relationship that calm, that presence. But the more I do it, it's just like every time you drop into your body, it's the clouds part and all the information now you have access to. And it's like my mind, whenever I notice I'm up in my head, I'm just like, oh, Jen, you're up in your head. Just take a breath or two, drop down into your body. And it's like the mind will quiet itself. If anybody has struggled with, I got to get rid of all this stuff going through my head, well, take a few breaths and drop down into your body. And the more you drop into that space, it's like the mind just starts to quiet itself, which is a gift from the gods to have your mind quiet a little bit.
It really is. And we can think we really need to figure this out. And we need to really think hard about it. And often when I first ask people, what do you really want? What do you want to build here? What do you want us to look like in 5 years, 10 years? What's the point? And they feel disconnected with it. They're not loving where it's headed right now, but they are like, I just really need to work this out. I need to figure out the answer. And it's not where it comes from. Every single time it comes from, it's in there. It's underneath it all. You just need to get quiet enough for it to come through.
Yeah, agree completely. All right, so capacity, alignment, and then what?
Then we're ready for the so one of the last pieces we look at when we're talking alignment is, okay, once we know what you want to build as a business, what does the current business model get us there or not? So we do get tactical at that point, and we look at financial planning to see where's this going to lead if we don't make changes, or what changes might we need to make to achieve that vision. Mm-hmm. And then we move into what we call the third phase, which is leverage. And that's saying, because really what I've learned is in this quicksand scenario, this point we're at, all the growth really needs to come from leverage now. We're done with we need to add more, we need to add more, we need to add more. That was the first stage of the business. Now
Yeah.
it's really actually we need to do less, but we need to do like the right things. So
Hmm.
so in that it's about really looking in detail at the business you've already built, because at the end of the day, if you've got a business to a few 100,000, you've done a lot of things very right.
Hmm.
There's some absolute gold going on in that business, but it might be that you did that one thing that produced really good results once, and you've been doing something like it with everybody else, but you haven't really been doing exactly that thing. And it's on both a service level, so it might be the offers that you have or the type of clients you're going for or the way you've been doing marketing, but it's in the real nuances too. So it might be like, how you onboarded one particular person that went on to be this amazing project, and it's actually something in that onboarding that really contributed to that you never really captured. So we really just go through the whole business at this point and look at what's driven all the best pieces of the success. And
Yeah.
I love it because it's almost like you're hunting through this
Hmm.
quite complex expanse at that point. Let's face it, like we grow scrappily to a few 100,000, and then there's just a lot of pieces everywhere.
Yeah.
And I love this job of going through and going, okay, well, let's take that piece and let's
Yeah.
put it with this piece, and we'll dust
Hmm.
off this other one over here that hasn't been used for a while and put that in as well. And
Yeah.
you end up kind of building this machine that suddenly works beautifully. It'll like find the right people, really identify them, bring them in, deliver
Hmm.
something amazing to them, and send them away really happy, so we can capture all that energy and feed that back into finding the next people. Then you suddenly are, oh, okay, this is the blueprint for our successful business. And it was living in our business. It was just a bit all over the place.
Right. And Thea, I love so much that because so much coaching that I see out in the business world is just hyper focused on strategy and tactics. So many of the high ticket coaching problems, will teach you how to do one thing. We'll teach you how to, sell with a webinar or whatever it is. And they're so focused on strategy and tactics. And it's all fine and good. However, a lot of people fail in those programs. And I love the way that you start with capacity and then you start with alignment and then you look at strategy, because now you're building your business on a solid foundation. Back in the day, strategy for me would be do more. I'm sorry, capacity. Oh, I can do more. I can work 15 hours a day instead of 12. Like, absolutely, I've got it. And alignment would have just been, well, that's what I want, and I'm going that direction, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And then I would just focus all on strategy. And I found myself exhausting myself time and time again, especially in my earlier businesses where it was just like, oh, I'm looking for that tactic to solve all my problems. And I would find it, execute it, implement it, and then maybe it would solve a little bit of the problem, but not really the whole problem. But the whole problem was me. The whole problem was what was going on the inside. And so I love that you're building this beautiful business, but you're building it the right way on a sturdy foundation and not just jumping into tactics and strategy before that foundation's there.
Yeah. And because we've been used to operating that way, because we get out of the gate that way, there is a real identity shift that has to happen through this phase as well. That's
Yeah.
going alongside all of this. Like, we know that the business owners, their natural instincts are going to be to fight against a lot of this work in the
Yeah.
early stages. You're telling somebody you can do less and grow more, it just doesn't compute to begin with, because it's not what your brain has seen evidence of so far. It's like, oh, if I add another thing, then I can grow a bit more. So we've just been adding and adding and adding. So there's a lot of letting go and shedding that has to happen on a personal level, and a lot of, almost reprogramming to
Yeah.
enjoy this next phase. It's not very enjoyable to begin with. It becomes very enjoyable
Right.
you're probably around 4 to 6 months in, once you start to see the evidence of this new way of approaching it working for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you never go back.
Never go back. Like even now, I've noticed that if I start to work a day that's too long, and I really enjoy my work. And so, but like I've noticed after like 5 or 6 hours, which for me back in the day, that would have been like, you are lazy, you need to get to work. You know, a 5 hour day was, that's not happening. But now after about 5 hours, it's like, that's it. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with the clients, I drove the business, and that's all it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally cannot even imagine going back to how I used to work. So I just want to I want to testify for that, that once you move through, and it truly is an identity shift, it lives deep in your system, and you don't want to try to force it because that won't work. But once you move through it, and you feel that joy of resting without guilt, delegating and not worrying that your team has it, having a beautiful team that is just like such a joy to work with versus you guys all know, like people were the biggest problem in my earlier businesses. But when you work with a beautiful team and you rest and the money flows in and just all those things, that's alignment. That all starts clicking. You will never go back. You will
Mm-hmm.
never go back.
I find it as well I find it with my day, like you just said, like how much I work, but I find it with I guess really my to-do list. Like if I find myself starting to feel a little bit like I can feel the creep happening, because it just does always try and creep in of all the
Yeah.
things, all the opportunities and all the possibilities. I can tell as soon as I start to feel that way, I'm like, okay, what do I need to simplify? What do I need to take off? What do I need to, because this is not all needed and it's not contributing positively. And I love those moments of going through and going, okay, that project's culled, that task is
Yes.
culled, that one's gone.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because what I've noticed starts happening is that your system goes from almost like working against you, where it keeps your system has kept you driven, going, you know, go, go, go to get that business off the ground. But when you go through this shift, because if you do, you're going to hit that quicksand. And so we don't want to hit the quicksand. But when you go through this identity shift, then your system starts to work with you and for you. And so exactly like what you're saying, I feel the same thing. It's like I start a sense of, all right, that's enough, no more. And you set that boundary, but the boundary actually feels good. It doesn't, right? It doesn't feel forced or, oh my God, my coach said I have to set boundaries and, oh, these are terrible. And I used to think that my trauma therapist said, you need to learn how to set boundaries. And it's just like, oh God, it was so scary. And she was so right. And it was so awful when I first did it. And now I'm just like, oh, I set a boundary and it feels good.
And the boundaries come first, which I think is, which is so obvious when you say it like that, but I don't think we treat it
It's
like
log
that. It
it's
clicks.
logical in our brains. It's obvious, right? It makes sense. We're smart thinking people. So yes, it makes logical sense. But emotionally in my body, it didn't feel good to do those things. In fact, it felt like the worst thing that there was. But again, once you start moving through this and your identity shifts, and now you have a system that works with you and supports you, and it's beautiful.
The other thing I think is really interesting about it, and I'm sure you get the same, is because you're so in alignment and because you're seeing the evidence of working in this new way and just, staying true to yourself and what you need, you don't get as drawn in any way by, oh, that person's doing that and that's working for them, and that person's talking about that thing and that's working for them, which I think before you get into this place, it's so hard to have your blinkers on and not be seeing everybody else doing all these things and growing around you and not thinking, okay, I need to do a bit of that and I need to do a bit of this. Like I will see all of that, and I just love the fact that it feels like it has nothing to do with me.
I know. Isn't it beautiful, Thea? I see it too. I'm happy for everybody, but I truly, and I say this with all the love in my heart, I truly don't give a shit Like whatever everybody is doing is wonderful for them. But it's just like you can just own what you're doing and it just feels so good and you can be happy for everybody else and but not pulled in, right, to trying to keep up or perform or I had said for years that I'd rather have a business that was highly profitable instead of high revenues because I work with so many high revenue businesses that don't have the profit and the stress of a high revenue business without profit. That's a lot of stress. But I didn't always feel it. And now I really feel it. Like somebody the other day was, asking me about like doing our goals for the year. And I had to sit with that for a second because I was like, oh, right. Yeah, we should set some goals because you just get so like, you're just in the flow and you're flowing. And yes, the business is growing and you're loving life and you're doing all the things. And I forgot for a moment, like, oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Let's set some goals. You're right. We should do that.
You're very good with your habits, and I do think if you know your habits and the
Yeah.
foundation bits underneath, your whole brain and body relaxes about the goal piece because you know you're going in the right direction, you know you're doing the things that are going to result in the results, and you just have so much more trust in yourself and trust in the path that you're on and that it's going to get you to where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust is such a big thing to be starting to navigate in trust, alignment, those types of things over fear, scarcity, which does not feel good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Thea, so brilliant. So brilliant. So I know everybody listening is like, she really is brilliant, and she is. And I'm going to just drop a little tidbit. So Thea and I are actually going to be teaming up. Now we have to do it because I'm mentioning it on the show. But
Yes.
we're going to be teaming up. We don't have an official topic yet, but we really want to go deeper into a lot of what we've been talking about here today is that underlying work that has to happen so that the strategy and the tactics, so those things can really land. And so coming soon, when we pick a date and to a theater near you, we're going to be diving into some of this together, partnering up, you guys. And I think it's going to be so awesome where I'll work at the underneath and Thea is going to work at that strategy level. And there you go. I just dropped it on the show that it's coming soon, Thea. And now we absolutely have to do it.
Committed. Yeah, we're committed now. That the combination is so powerful. We've probably all had moments where we've done more of the inner work on
Yeah.
ourselves, and then we've done more of the tactical work,
Yeah.
and that can all really help. But when you bring the two together in a very strategic way, that's like absolute magic.
It is absolute magic. I agree. So if you are not already on our mailing list, get over to jenniferdawncoaching.com, get on the mailing list so that you can get notified when Thea and I do this beautiful webinar, series, telesummit, whatever we're going to do. We're going to do something that's going to be very cool. And then Thea, share where everybody, before we run out of time, share where everybody can find you. And I believe that you also had a free gift.
I do, yes. So online wise, over at my website, you can come and find me there, theabrook.com. I hang out on LinkedIn quite a bit. I'm quite allergic to all other social media, so it amazes myself that I managed to stay on LinkedIn. But I am on LinkedIn. I'm very active, and I share all through the week. I'm sharing learnings and insights from inside the businesses that I'm working with. So you get a lot of behind the scenes tips and tactics of what we're doing to grow the businesses, to make the founders feel happier and healthier and all the things. And then, yes, so this leverage phase I was talking about, really looking at your business and figuring out where are the pieces that we should be focusing on and how do we bring them together. I have a free workshop for you that you can go and take. It takes less than 30 minutes. I guarantee it will change how you look at your business. You will suddenly see how much you have built and how strong it would be when you put those pieces together. So that's at theabrook.com/workshop.
Love it. And we will put all of Thea's links and her free gift into the show notes so you guys can hop on and you can grab those links as well. But theabrook.com. Yes, theabrook.com. Yes. And if you do /workshop, You can grab that. And I'm telling you, it'll be worth your time because everything Thea does is absolutely brilliant and worth your time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. You have the perfect voice for being a podcast host.
I do. Oh my goodness. You know what I was doing before this. And so a lot of the deep nervous system work that we're doing with our clients, I've created something called a bridge statement. And one of my former clients who's a music composer, Kendall, he's brilliant. If you ever need a music composer, message me. I've got your guy. He's so brilliant. And so he has composed this amazing music for us. And then I was here in the studio today recording the guided meditations to go over the top. So when we talked about this identity shift, right? And when you're working to shift this stuff and we're working at the nervous system level, these are guided meditations that I'll be able to send out to our clients and just be like, okay, so you're working on money, or you're working on time, or you're working on, I'm racked with guilt all the time, whatever that is. So thank you for telling me that, because as I was literally sitting here recording this morning, I was like, oh, I hope my voice doesn't make people go, ah. I hope that they're like, oh, we're calm, we're safe, we're regulated. Now we can shift.
I don't think you need to worry about that at all. I think everybody will be downloading those.
Good. Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here with us on today's show. I hope you grabbed something amazing. And look, it's one thing to sit and to listen to all of these things, very, very important, but we also have to take action. We need to do something with it so that whatever your aha or that moment that was for you today in today's show, because we had a lot of them, just grab or hold on to one of those and then take some action, like do something with it. Get on Thea's list, go check out her workshop, hop on our list, and that's it. Thank you. Get out there, y'all, and have a happy, productive day. All right, bye.
If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to have you join us inside Freedom Builders, my coaching community for entrepreneurs who are ready to slow it on down, do the inner work, and build soul-aligned businesses that are happy, productive. Everything you need is linked below in the description, or you can visit my website at jenniferdawncoaching.com. I hope to see you there.